Cueto. Thank you for joining me here today. Well, I'm doing another practice to see if I can get this whole thing to work. So I know no one really is going to be watching this video, but that's all right. It's for my own educational purposes only to see if everything's working out. Got my camcorder working, got my key light working, so let's see if the cameras will switch. We got my overhead working, got the famous palette cam working right here. So it looks like we're ready to go. So what I'm doing right now is I want to see if everything's working out right now. I'm going to be doing a quick demo just to make sure that everything's working just fine, and let's see how it goes. I'm also going to play around with some audio effects here and see if everything's sounding good too. We got to sound good as well. So let's go ahead and get the party started right. So here is the drawing that I'm going to be doing today. This is a very famous drawing, a Pablo Picasso drawing of his friend Igor Stravinsky, the famous composer. Now this is featured in the Betty Edwards book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, where she famously instructs people that drawing upside down is really a good way to go, because where a lot of people mess up in their drawing skills when they're developing their skills from the very beginning is they get caught up in the actual object itself, what it is that they're trying to do, when really the beginning artist should just focus on mimicking the lines that are in front of them without worrying about what it is that you're actually drawing. Another way of saying it is don't draw what your brain identifies. What we're going to be doing is taking this picture, we're going to draw it upside down, and we want our brain to forget what it is, specifically an ugly guy with the wrinkled up suit and his funky hands and all that. And we want the right side of our brain to recognize what it is that we're doing is a bunch of lines in a specific order. Now I'm going to be drawing it on this grid paper right here. And one of the reasons I'm going to use grid paper right now, and I'd encourage you guys to do it also, is because it has the pre-printed vertical and horizontal lines. Now for a beginning artist, that's really going to help us make sure that things are aligned okay. But let's not get hung up on accuracy, all right? Let's not worry about, oh my gosh, it's not looking exactly right. Let's just draw what we see, and hopefully, you know, it'll come out okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so we can see better. I'll zoom in a lot more later as we get into the drawing. So let's go ahead and start here. What I recommend to people is that when you guys are drawing, work from the top of your image down. Don't do the perimeter, work from the top down, and try to work like a photocopy machine, like a scanner, going like this. You know, checking your horizontal alignment, checking your vertical alignment. So when you guys watch me, you're going to see that I'm going to be doing just that. I'm not going to be focusing on the outside edge first, because if I get that wrong, the whole drawing is going to collapse. It's going to be incorrect. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to work my way this way, work my way over here, work my way over here, basically kind of going like this, if you can see that on the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and identify where the line's going to go. I see this line. It's going to drop down like this. I'll do that. I'm going to notice the gap in between. So I notice this line is obviously much shorter. The gap is probably around here, right? It's not going to be really close. It's not going to be super far away. I'm going to estimate that this line goes this way. Now, one of the things that you guys are going to find out in your drawing is that your drawing is really a bunch of guesses. But the more you draw, the more accurate your guesses become. So for example, see how close this is, and this line angles going basically in that direction. So I'm going to find this spot. It's going to flare out this way. This line is almost parallel. I want to find that gap and go like that. And so if I mess up, because I'm working in ink, if I mess up, no big deal. You know, one of the purposes of learning to draw is, you know, to obviously because it's something that interests you, but we want to, you know, improve. We want to get better at something. Most people don't start an activity, you know, hoping that they don't get better. You want to get better. So I'm looking for intersections. See where this line flares out this way. It's probably around here. It's definitely not horizontal, right? In fact, at this point, let's zoom in a lot more. And let me reposition my papers so you guys can see a little bit better. And we will focus on the zooming. Let's position our paper better. Orale, cool. All right, so now that I got this here, I'm going to go and capture that angle and the length. I see that it doesn't go too far away from here. And this angle goes up like that, kind of parallel to what we see. You guys are going to be seeing that I'm going to be comparing my drawing to what is already on here, meaning that I'll use what I've already drawn as a guideline excuse me, to know where other things should go. See how this is really close and then the gap gets wider? This area right here, this line kind of forms like a really open V shape. Again, I'll be comparing things to other things, objects. So I want to mimic that negative space as best I can there and there. This drops down this way. I know it needs how this is lower right here, and then this gets closer than it does at this end with a slight ascension. It's going, whoops, it's going up a little bit, and it's longer, obviously. So that's what we want to do. What we want to do is we want to take each line by line. We want to figure out angles, make sure that the angles are correct, comparing it to other things that we've already drawn, and just taking it slow, all right? There's no points for speed on this thing. We want to take it slow and steady. And the main thing that we want to do is we don't want to take the drawing and if it doesn't come out right the first time, well, get another piece of paper. See this intersection right here? It's about here. See how it makes that little triangular shape? Right, like that, and goes this way. See right here I messed up. See how there's this gap? My gap isn't going to be wide enough. It should have been wider, but that's all right. It's all right. That kind of egg oval shape right here. Now I don't want to go much lower than this. And then these two lines are going to start here. I know where this is, so that's going to give me an idea that this should be up here. This should be up here. This little weird thing goes right there. All right. So we are making some really good progress now at this point. Now what I want to do is I want to address this other part of the drawing right here. So let me go ahead and move things on camera. Cool. Now that I have this, this is really going to help me figure out where all these lines are. Now these lines look really weird, but that's all right. We're going to make it look good. See this gap right here? This gap, how it drops down, it doesn't go horizontal, it drops down here. So I'm going to guess that this point is going to be around here somewhere. Down. Now, some people will be saying, you know what, I really don't want to do this. Just let me draw my manga right away. Let me draw my anime. I want to draw the Mona Lisa right now. Could you maybe show me these? Russian, something like that. Any language. And I give you a few words. Here's develop that mastery. And mastery happens over time. If I could give you some pill, you know, flick it down your throat and you swallow it and boom, you've got art skills, then that's great. But for me, in my opinion, the only way to develop skill is through struggle. Through taking a visual situation and practicing. And your first attempts are not going to be very good. But we honor the attempt and we recognize that, you know what, it's not great, but I can do better and I'll do better and I'll keep practicing. Right? Okay, so I see these two lines right here. I'm going to guess that this is going to start about here. It's going to go horizontal this way. This line has a bit of an ascension, then descension, like a really like small hill. Now that's giving me an idea of where these two lines go. So far we're going okay. I have made some inaccuracies in the drawing. Maybe that's a better word than mistakes, inaccuracies, right? But that's the whole point. Now I'm going to draw this kind of like point here. I'm going to look for that distance right here. It gets really close to the pre-existing line. Drop it down this way. And then there's this thing. It goes like this. Now, I don't think that's long enough. But I think we're making some progress, right? We're making some progress here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this big jumble of lines here. I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Okay. Now, I know in the back of my mind what those things are supposed to be, right? I know what they're supposed to be, but I'm not going to dwell on what it actually is. All I'm drawing right now is a bunch of lines. There's probably a point where the person who was standing behind you on the bike let go, and you didn't realize it. And for a moment or two, you were riding the bike, and things were going well. But then as soon as you realize that you're on your own, like, oh no, I can't do this, and you maybe you fell to the ground. I hope you didn't. But that's the same thing with drawing. Because if we think about what it is that we're drawing, we get caught up with the idea of accuracy. And we want to be accurate, don't get me wrong. But what we want to do is we want to a certain extent, disengage our brain. And we want to draw what we actually see, what's actually there. Okay? So I'm putting in these lines here. Again, don't know what it is, don't care what it is. Life is good. And if I mess up, it's okay. You know, your wife isn't going to leave you because you can't draw. I hope not. You know, your dog's not going to, you know, try to find a better home with a owner that draws better. The ice cream man will still stop for you. Oops, there we go. And then something else too, and I admit that this is kind of tricky for me, is that drawing and speaking at the same time is kind of a tricky thing to do. Because what's happening is I'm using two sides of my brain at the same time. The conventional theory is that the left side of our brain, that would be this side for me, the left side of our brain is the side that deals with language, with speaking, with listening, and on all that kind of higher function. And the right side of the brain is the visual side. That's the side that really doesn't get addressed in school. Most classes in school focus on left brain development, which is fine and it's necessary, but the right side starts to shrivel up. And so those of us that are more creative, that have drawing skills, have developed the right side of the brain, they use it all the time, and that's great. But when you try to use them at the same time, there's a bit of a left-right brain conflict, you know, and it kind of messes you up. And so the reason that I can draw and speak at the same time is because, well, I've been doing this for a while. I'm also slightly ambidextrous. Slightly. Let me zoom out so we can see. When I was a kid, my parents would tell me that when I was a kid that I would draw with both hands at the same time. And I can still draw a little bit with my left. I won't do that now. But I definitely use my left hand for a lot of things. I throw with my left hand. Anything that involves a little bit more strength, I will use my left hand for. Not that there's much strength there, but you know. Okay, now let's focus on the drawing. I've been doing too much talking here. All right, see these two lines that descend down this way? They need to be somewhere along this line, obviously, right here. But where are they going to go? Again, let's use stuff that's already here on the drawing to figure out where it should go. So when I look at this line right here, if I were to draw a vertical line, see how it's kind of to the right of this line? So I'm going to find this line. I'm going to guess maybe around here. And that's going to give me an idea of where that line should go. This line is obviously to the right of that, to the left of this. This curvature is going this way. So far we're going okay. So far we're going okay. In fact, let's give myself a little... See, my ego is so fragile. I need to have people clapping for me, so forgive me. All right, let's get back to the movie. All right, so let's go ahead and figure this out. Now this line right here, the reason I'm looking for this line is I'm looking for the larger items, the larger areas, the larger shapes, because that's going to help me figure out where these smaller ones that are floating in here need to go. So this line right here is going to go like this, and it descends this way, and it goes like this. Now there's lots of things happening here that are distracting me. I just want to focus on this line. This other line that's near it, it's going to go out this way, and it obviously flares out wider. Then there's this little shape right here that's really close. There's this kind of V shape, this upside down check mark. This line goes like this. Now you guys, have the advantage of working in pencil. I'm working in ink because it appears better on camera. You can see it better, and that's great. But if you can draw in pencil and you need to adjust things, that's fine. Okay, let's see, we are reaching the 20-minute mark in this live stream. I don't want to go too much longer than that. Oh, I messed up here. This goes this way. There we go. And then this little piece right here, where is that along this piece? Well, again, let's use what we already have. See this point right here? I'm going to go horizontally and see where it's near that point. So I'm going to guess this is here. And that should help quite a bit. Okay, I realize I haven't put in some of these lines up here. So let's reposition the paper because I need to make sure that I don't neglect these parts. Here, this drawing is actually, or this part of the drawing is kind of tricky because see this gap? There's nothing connecting this line to anything. It's free floating out there. It's free floating. So what I need to do is I need to figure out, okay, how far of a leap does my pen need to make? And if you're using a pencil, your pencil need to make. If I put the pencil here, the pen here, that's too close, right? See that gap? That's too close. If I put it way out here, that's way too far away. So I'm going to try to be precise, and I'm going to guess around here. Here, I want to find where that is. So I'm going to guess around here. Goes like this. Again, I am not stating what these objects are, these things that I'm drawing, because I want to forget what it is. All we are drawing is a bunch of random lines and, just draw what you see in front of you. You are going to do fabulous. See this part right here where it flares out and then there's an oval shape here? Goes this way, and it goes like that. All right. And then this part goes like this. Cool. All right, so let's zoom out a little bit. Whoop. Out is out. All right. And now let's do, because I'm going to stop this live stream. We've been going for 20 minutes here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the reveal here. I'm going to take my image, I'm going to take the drawing and turn it right side up, and I want to see how I did. Now, there may be some adjustments I need to make. Maybe if you were doing this drawing with me, you would see that maybe your drawing is too wide, too tall, too whatever. Don't worry about it, all right? I want to, in a way, encourage mistakes. I want you guys to get outside your comfort zone, stop making the drawings that you've been making all this time, because if you're watching this video, I'm hoping that you're asking more of yourself now, that you want to improve your drawing accuracy, you want to improve your perception skills and all that. So don't worry about going, oh my, and get better at it. So let's go ahead and turn these guys right side up. And overall, I think we did okay. So if you notice right here, this area, the hands, right? The hands look okay. Most of the lines look like they're in the right spot. There are some, slight issues. Oh, I forgot those little things, his cufflinks right there and all that. So when you take a break, if you're drawing, if you take a break and look at it right side up, you'll notice some things that are off, okay? Don't worry about it. If your drawing is too big or too wide, again, don't worry about it at all. Just accept what came out, and then recognize that, all right, this drawing didn't come out that well. Maybe I'll try it again. And each time I'm going to get better and better and better, all right? Because that's all we can do. So those of you that were, working on that, give yourself a big round of applause right there, all right? You guys were doing great. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me because let's face it, I have no friends. And the next time we meet, I'm sure your drawings are going to keep improving, all right? Always remember, thank you for watching Creativity Bridge. Creativity is your birthright. May it never leave you. All right, have a great day. Thank you.